Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is trainer education, and we're going to cover equipment needs. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is the kind of most important equipment a gym slash trainer or you working out at home should have if you were to create like a home gym. And then we'll talk a little bit more about some other kind of details in regards to equipment. So this was asked of me by someone through the podcast who is a trainer, and they asked my opinion on what equipment they would need in their facility. So they already had an existing facility. They actually had all the basics covered. So we kind of just talked about things that they could add for fun. So then I figured I'd start this one though at the basics, and then we'll get to what might be the fun stuff. So in general, what equipment do you need to get a good workout? The most basic answer, and what you're going to hear from kind of like the most hardcore kind of people, is you don't need equipment, all you need is yourself. And there's a ton of truth to that. You can do a lot of body weight based stuff, okay? And you can do body weight based stuff for fat loss, aerobic conditioning, relative strength, and relative muscular development. Now I'm going to come back here in a second and talk about what the word relative means. But when you think about body weight, like when I was younger, I first started exercising when I was 15. So a friend called me fat on my 15th birthday, and I didn't like the fact that he was right. So I started doing push-ups and sit-ups every night, and I did it every night for a year. So I missed 10 days in the whole year, though, so I was kind of bummed about that. But I did 250 push-ups and 250 sit-ups, and that was it. That was my equipment, okay? So at the time, I had absolutely no clue what the hell I was doing. I just thought doing sit-ups would get rid of my belly and doing push-ups would grow my chest. I think it's funny looking back at it now how I thought exercising through crunches would make me lose body fat, like belly fat, but exercising through push-ups would make me gain muscle. So clearly I had no clue what the hell I was talking about. So I just love the fact that just if I exercised an area, it would respond however I felt like it responding, rather than me actually having to do something to get tissue to grow, or the fact that you can lose fat in one spot, not over the body. So it's just kind of hilarious in the way it started. But you can get good workouts through just body weight. So they have things now like calisthenics, and there's people who do, pull-ups and a bunch of crazy flips and whatnot in parks, and you can see them do those kind of things. It's doing body weight training has a ton of benefit, but there's a lot of limitations. So some of the limitations can be just somebody's general fitness. And so for example, if somebody's, like in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, and they want to get into being physically healthy and physically active, but they're overweight or they have a bad knee or bad hip, there's going to be a lot of limitations on what they can do with just themselves. So they maybe can't even do a body weight squat. They can't even get on the ground to do, crunches or push-ups. So, they can probably get down on the ground, they just can't get back up very well. And a lot of people can't even do push-ups anyhow. So they make things like slingshot, which is, if you just type slingshot push-ups in YouTube or Google, you'll see it's like this kind of stretchy material that has like arm sleeves to it in a band that goes across the chest. And you would kind of sink into the band, and it actually gives you assistance to do push-ups. So there's small based equipment you can buy like that, which is I think like $20-30. I have no clue how much it costs actually, to be honest. So I don't think it's over 50, but that's something you can do that would help somebody do push-ups. But even if you assist the push-up action, they have to be able to put all of their body weight on their wrists. And a lot of people can't do that. So there's a lot of truth to the fact that body weight alone can be great workouts. But there's also a lot of truth that body weight alone is a huge limitation, okay, in that a lot of people can't use themselves because they are too heavy for where they're at in their physical development and strength and whatnot. So, and they might have injuries related to that. So, can you train people with just bodyweight exercises? Hell yes. Do you have to modify things if that's all you have? Yes, and it's not really going to be the best scenario. So you're going to have to work around a lot of things, and it can really negate the fun and overall possible benefit of exercise by having that severe of a limitation in the fact that you have zero equipment whatsoever. So it's true body weight is good, but it's also true that body weight is not enough. Okay. And especially if you're a trainer, chances are you're going to be okay with and actually want to invest money into your facility. So if you're a trainer at another, like at an existing facility, then you already have some equipment available to you. And maybe you're listening to this to just kind of think about branching out on your own, or maybe you know the facility owner and you want to help purchase some equipment that might be useful to you. So if you're an existing facility, you're already above body weight. If you're trying to develop your own place, you're going to be willing to spend some money on something. And hopefully you'll be listening to this podcast to find out what that something would be. So, in the description of body weight benefits, I talked about how you can lose body fat, you can do aerobic conditioning, you can do muscular endurance, but you can only work on relative strength and relative muscle development. And what relative means is you can only get as strong as your body weight will allow. So there are different types of strength. So two categories of strength that we're going to talk about here and compare are relative strength versus absolute strength. So relative strength would be how strong am I relative to my body weight. So can I do 10 pull-ups? Can I do one pull-up? Can I do 10 push-ups? Can I do one push-up? So how strong am I at moving myself? So it's my strength relative to myself. Absolute strength is absolutely like how strong am I? Can I deadlift 600 pounds? Can I squat 500 pounds? Can I bench press, 300 pounds? So absolute strength is how strong are you absolutely into a set standard of like a weight load. So relative strength is you can have somebody who's relatively strong. Maybe they can do 50 push-ups in a row, but they're not absolute strong. So they maybe can't bench press twice their body weight. But you can definitely have people who can bench press twice their body weight but can't do 50 push-ups. So you can, and another way to look at this is like pull-up strength. So you can have somebody who can do like maybe a 250-pound like lat pull down, okay, on a machine. They can do a lat pull down on a machine for 250 pounds, but they can't do a pull-up of themselves if they weighed 250 pounds. So they have pretty good absolute strength. They can move 250 pounds in a pull-up kind of movement, but they don't have good relative strength in the sense that they can't pick themselves up. So where I've seen this in the past is I'll have people who do bodyweight-based style training, and they'll be strong-ish, but they'll reach a plateau to where like, okay, I've been working really hard and maybe I can do 50 push-ups, but I don't seem to be getting any more chest development. I don't seem to be getting any really stronger. I just kind of plateaued at 50. What can I do? So what happens then is you need to create challenge above their body weight. So their body weight is no longer heavy enough to be challenging to them. So what ends up happening is they just end up doing activities of their body weight for higher and higher times under tension and workload times, in the sense that they no longer get strength development, they just get more and more muscular endurance development. So if I can do 50 push-ups, let's just turn this into reps, okay? If I lay down and do 50 reps of a dumbbell chest press, is doing a weight that's light enough for me to do 50 reps going to help me get stronger? The answer is no. Okay? So we talk about in podcast 214 about understanding rep ranges and expected results, and we talk about the concept of time under tension. That for you to get stronger, you have to fail at an exercise between 10 to 20 seconds. And this is all generalities, but that's a pretty good place to start with. So you would fail at an exercise between 10 to 20 seconds. That is a good time under tension, muscular stress, that will cause the body to respond by getting stronger. If I do an activity of 60 seconds, I do not get strength as my body responds. I get muscular endurance. So if they're doing 50 push-ups, doing 55 push-ups isn't going to make them any stronger. It's just going to make them better at endurance. So very quickly, somebody's body weight will become insufficient for strength development towards absolute strength. So going from 50 push-ups to 55 push-ups does not make their 1 rep max bench press go up. So that's the issue you run into. And the same is true with muscular development in terms of muscle mass or muscle definition, is somebody can only have as much muscle as their body weight resistance will dictate. So if I want to build muscle tissue, our time under tension for that range is, we'll just say roughly between 20 to 40 seconds. Well, if the event that I can do is over 40 seconds, then I'm not going to get muscular development from that event. So if it's, again, 60-second event, so if it's 60 seconds of push-ups or 60 seconds of pull-ups, I'm not going to get muscular development in terms of larger muscle. I'm just going to get more muscular endurance. Maybe by doing the event often enough and I eat clean, I can lose body fat and get leaner. And then maybe I can see more muscle definition, but I wouldn't have gotten bigger muscles to see that definition. I would have had to get leaner to see that definition. So if you use body weight alone, there are limitations in how strong you can be, and there are going to be limitations in how much muscle mass you can produce. So what's the next thing we want to have then, if we know that body weight isn't enough, is basic free weights. So you want to have dumbbells, barbells, and plates. And to go with the barbell and plates, you want to have a squat rack and a bench. So, and preferably an adjustable bench because it gives you more options for exercises. Now, I have trained a lot of people online to the point where that's all they've had. So I've trained a lot of people in like home garages and stuff like that, home gyms, where they invested a good bit of money, because that actually ain't cheap, to get a squat rack, an adjustable bench, barbell, and plates. And then some of them haven't even had dumbbells. We just use their plates as dumbbells. So if they have 10-pound plates, they have 10-pound dumbbells. If they have 5-pound plates, they have 5-pound dumbbells. If they have 25-pound plates, they have 25-pound dumbbells. So we just hold on to the plates, either through the middle hole or if their plate design has a handle to it. So we just use the plates themselves as kind of their dumbbells. Now, are dumbbells, actual real dumbbells, helpful? Hell yeah. But they can be expensive. Even adjustable dumbbells, a very good quality, high quality adjustable dumbbells, can be several hundreds of dollars. So even in just a home gym where you have a barbell, some weight plates, rack, and a bench, that can already be maybe $600 to $800 if you buy some stuff on Craigslist or used equipment. That'll still cost $600 to $800. You add in some dumbbells there, you might have $1,000. Now, that sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but if you add up like a gym membership, now exclusion of the gyms that are like $10 a month, okay? But if you add up a gym membership, well, some of the gyms that have $10 a month, by the way, don't even have barbells, so they're not really a good comparison to this. But if you add up a gym that would have good basic heavy-duty equipment, so barbells, plates, squat racks, adjustable benches, dumbbells, stuff like that, you're probably looking between $30 to $60 a month. We'll just go with $30 a month for membership. So within 2 or 3 years of exercising, you will have paid off basically the home gym, but you'll own it for the rest of your life. So instead of getting a home gym, you say, well, I'm just going to go to the gym down the street for $30 a month. Well, in 2 or 3 years, you could have had your home gym. You could work out 24 hours a day, anytime you wanted, and you get to have that for the rest of your life, whereas the membership money kind of goes out the window. So once you're done with the membership, you're done with the gym, the equipment, okay? So it is an expense. But again, if you're listening to this because you want to be a personal trainer, I assume that you're already expecting you're going to be spending $1,000 on stuff. So equipment is not cheap at all. So right now it's in the month of November, and there's like Black Friday sales and all those kind of like major sales on at everywhere due to the time of the year. And even like with sales, if you try to get let's say like a full set of kettlebells, for example, is like $2,000. So you try to get a good squat rack, especially if it's brand new, I mean, you're paying at least $600, $800 for a good squat rack. The barbells, even on these big sales and cheap sales and stuff, they're still going to be like $250, which are typically over 300. So you're looking at a lot of expense there. But again, if you're a personal trainer, this is the equipment you need to do your job and make your money. So just how a plumber needs tools, trainers need equipment. Okay, but that's pretty much what you want to have in terms of what you really need. So if you have barbells, plates, squat rack, and adjustable bench, you can develop everything in a person. So fat loss, aerobic conditioning, you can develop relative and absolute strength. You can develop relative and absolute muscle definition. You can get somebody leaner, bigger, stronger, faster, all those things. So everything you would need can be done with a barbell, plate, rack, and bench. And then body weight on top of that, okay? And you can look on YouTube, there's tons of exercises that use weight plates. So you can use weight plates to do upright rows, lateral raises, bent over face pulls for the upper back. You can do rotational drills for the external rotation, rotators of the shoulder. So you can even do like lying dumbbell floor flies, but we've used 25-pound plates as the dumbbells, and they'll still get good chest exercise through that. So you can do a lot of creative things with weight plates. So dumbbells are a luxury, actually. They're not a necessity. And then if you look at kettlebells are absolutely a luxury, not a necessity, but man, they're pretty damn helpful. So those are very useful as well. So if I was outfitting a gym and I was thinking to myself is, okay, I want to be able to cover as many people's needs as possible with the fewest amount of equipment possible. Then I would get a barbell, some plates, rack, bench, and then I would get adjustable dumbbell set. So Power Block makes a really good adjustable dumbbell set that's very heavy duty, will last forever. And then I'll get some kettlebells. So that's going to be the basics of the equipment that you're going to need, and you're going to cover absolutely pretty much everybody's needs through that. Okay? Now, what about machines? Machines are very helpful to work around specific issues, to help with isolative work, and they help to decrease collateral damage. So we have a podcast way back when, I'm going to look up the number for you right now, about collateral damage. And it was podcast number 82, training podcast titled Collateral Damage Concerns. And what that is in regards to is if I want somebody to work their legs, okay, and all I have is a barbell and a squat rack and stuff, I can do barbell squats. But what if they have a really weak back, or they have some kind of injury related to the back, or they have some issue? Okay, so collateral damage means I might be doing squats to work their legs, but their back is getting beat up as well. So the back would be getting collaterally damaged when we're really trying to aim for the legs. So machines are great for reducing that collateral damage. So for example, if you have a leg press, you can put someone in a leg press and it'll work their legs, but it'll give ease of tension to their back. So you can take away certain body parts that you don't want involved by using machines. So there are benefits to having machines if you have the space and the money for them. Now, what are the best machines to have? I'm going to be a little biased due to the way that I train clients, just as you might be biased to the way that you would train your clients. So I'm going to make some suggestions, but by no means are these perfect for everyone. It would depend on your style of training, okay? But I believe that things like a belt squat. So if you don't know what a belt squat is, just YouTube it or Google it. So, but a belt squat, and there are very good ones. There's, Rogue Fitness makes a really good one now. And then West Side Barbell. They make kind of like the original, the one that like everybody should buy. Don't buy Legends brand of the West Side Barbell one. It's shit. Buy the actual West Side Barbell one. Now that might be like $3,000 some odd dollars, so it depends on if you have the money, okay? But if I had to name a piece that I thought would be most beneficial, then it's going to be more along the lines of a belt squat as compared to a leg press. And the reason why is a belt squat, you can do squatting motions with decreased back involvement, which is the whole purpose of why you'd have a leg press. But you can also do a million other exercises on a belt squat. You can put different handles on the end of the cable. You can do bent over rows. You can do stiff leg deadlifts. You can do, oh gosh, you can do a whole bunch of stuff like one arm side raises. You can do upright rows. You can do, like shrugs. There's a billion things, and for some reason I'm blanking on them. So we've even done bicep curls off ours. We have a bench on ours, and we've laid across the bench and even done tricep extensions on ours. You can do so many freaking things, it's ridiculous. So if you have $3,000 some odd dollars, a belt squat is better than a leg press, in my opinion. However, if you don't have $3,000 some odd dollars, you can get a very good used leg press between $500 to $1,000. Okay, so if you don't have the $3,000 some odd dollars to spend, but you still want the benefits of a leg press, okay, you can just buy a used leg press, and you can find those, like I said, between $500 to $1,000 online. So a leg press is definitely something very helpful because a lot of people have limitations to knees and hips and their lower back. So in today's culture, we don't use our lower back very much. So people's work capacity in their lower back is usually very low, and it's going to become the limiting factor for a lot of their lower body movements, just because their lower back can't take as much work as what maybe their thighs can. So by the time you're trying to get their thighs exhausted, their lower back is fried. So that's very helpful. You also have cable towers. So where you have an adjustable pulley where you can get like a weight stack of, say, 200 pounds, and the pulley can go from over their head anywhere in the middle down to their feet. There's a ton of great exercises you can do off that. Biceps, triceps, standing bent over rows. There's a whole bunch of crap. So tons and tons and tons of exercises. So that's very helpful. And then something for cable rows you can do, because that's very helpful for reducing lower back involvement. So can you just bend over row a barbell? Yes, but that uses the lower back. Can you bend over row dumbbells, even one-arm dumbbell rows? Yes, but that still does involve the lower back and some core. So cable rows is not in a necessity in any way whatsoever, but it is a nice benefit to have. So, and it also allows for usually a heavier weight load due to the better positioning on the lower back than what you'd be able to do with a barbell or dumbbell. So that's just a couple examples of some machines. So machines are super, super, super beneficial. Okay, I own a bunch of them, but they're absolutely not a necessity. They're just nice to have. So you can reduce collateral damage, you can work around issues, and you can better isolate certain body parts away from other body parts. So how about specialty equipment? And like, for example, the belt squat falls under that. So the belt squat is definitely a piece that I think has infinite numbers of usage. So you can use that for anything. We also own a Sorinex Hurricane. You can Google that or YouTube that if you don't know what that is. However, that is also expensive as shit too. So I think that's over $3,000 or $4,000. But it can do endless exercises. So you can do 50 some, 60 some, 100 some exercises on that. So that's a helpful piece of equipment. You also have TRX straps. So if you have somewhere to anchor a TRX off of, they're awesome because they can give you a ton of variety of exercises. You can buy weight sleds for relatively cheap or just make your own, and that gives you a ton of conditioning exercises. You can also get tires absolutely for free. So places that have big, large tires that you would flip for fitness, they often have to pay to get those tires disposed. So if you go there and ask them for it, they'll just give it to you for free, so they don't have to pay to get rid of it. You also have like other kind of like strongman type things where people will buy sandbags or they'll have kegs, and those are great ways to get cheap exercise equipment. So really what you need to have for exercise equipment in terms of what is the necessities is a barbell and some plates, a rack, and an incline bench. Then if you get some hand weights, whether it's dumbbells or kettlebells, that's going to be excellent. Then on top of there, it just depends on whatever you want to have and what you have the money for. But nothing else is really needed. Okay? So, when you think about purchasing equipment, you absolutely 1,000,000%, please listen to this. You want to buy what feels ergonomically the best. Buy a piece of equipment based on how it feels, not on how it looks. Do not buy the prettiest, shiniest thing if it feels like a piece of shit. Okay? People, you'll see this all the time. So I've seen gyms open up and they'll spend, $30,000 or more on flooring that has like their gym colors to it. They'll buy God knows how much of equipment, like 80 grand plus of one single kind of like company's equipment. They'll have everything painted to their exact colors, which is a total waste of money. But they'll make the gym look pretty. Now, when you have contracts, that's helpful because people come in, they like the look of it, it looks really fancy, they get kind of all worked up in the dreams of what they think they're going to do with all this beautiful fancy equipment. They sign the paperwork and then you have them into a contract for 2 years. But once they start using the equipment, they find out, well, this piece is really good, but this piece kind of feels funny on my shoulder. Or this piece is really good, but this other piece is like super freaking heavy, I can barely use it at all. Or this one's super freaking light. So I went to a gym recently and I used their entire weight stack on their adductor machine and did a set of 50 reps. Absolutely stupid. So I went to another piece of equipment that was supposed to be a chest press. I could barely fit in the damn thing. I'm not even that big. And the weight horns where the plates would go, were totally parallel with the floor. So as you were pressing, the weights would actually wobble and almost fall off the damn machine. And the machine was either too wide at the lockout, but too narrow was the other option. So the whole machine just felt like shit, basically, and it just was not a good chest press machine. So I went right from that, went to dumbbells, and was totally fine. So sometimes people will buy equipment based on the way it looks, and if all you're interested in doing is putting pictures on Instagram and selling memberships for contracts that people will want eventually out of, then good for you, do it. But that's not going to be the best way to run a gym. You want to buy things based on whether they feel good and they do what they're supposed to do, not on whether they're pretty. You also want to buy pieces individually, not in packages. So there's not a single company on the planet that makes a good everything. They might make a good back row, but they make a horrible chest press. Or they might make a good leg extension, but they make a horrible leg curl. So I have no clue what the hell these companies do, why they don't have more people testing out their equipment who are unbiased. But overwhelmingly, they have things set up incorrectly. So, like, for example, my dad and I weld and make our own equipment, and everything that we make, we test on myself and my mom. My mom is like 5'1" and weighs like 100 and something pounds. I'm 6 foot tall and I weigh 280. So we make sure it fits both of us, and actually a little bit below my mom's height and a lot above mine. So we make our equipment to try to fit like people who are 6'4" to 6'6". It's unlikely that they're going to be a lot of those people, but it's nice that they have the availability for the equipment. Then we also want to make sure the equipment is like easy to use, it's easy to understand. So it's very, very, very important to make sure that whatever you buy is functionally purposeful. Okay? And by buying individual pieces, not packages, you can ensure that each piece you get feels good and that you don't go in debt. So don't go in debt for equipment. Okay? Buy minimal. Buy the basics and then just purchase more as you make more money. Do not go in debt. So I went in debt to get equipment, and that was a shitload of work to pay off all that stuff. And I'm happy with how I ended up right now. So I wouldn't want to change anything because I don't want to change where I'm at. But if I got to do it again, I wouldn't do it the way I did it. Now, does that mean I might turn out to a better place or a worse place? I don't know. That's why I don't want to change anything, because I'm still in business 9 years later. So whatever the hell I did right was at least right enough. But I like a lot of the equipment I bought initially, it was fun to have at first, but it definitely wasn't necessary at first. So I didn't need to be paying the interest rates on all that stuff. I could have just bought it as I needed it, or bought it as I made the money for it. Okay? So, got a little bit long-winded there, but hopefully this was some good information. So, if you're a trainer, do not think that you need more equipment to make you a better trainer. That's absolute bullshit. Okay? There is a creativity paradox that the more equipment you have, it actually makes you less creative. So the fewer equipment that you have available to you, the more creative options you will have to figure out per piece of equipment. So it'll make you a lazy trainer to have a lot of equipment available to you. It'll make you a better trainer to have minimal equipment available to you. So if you don't have a lot of equipment, take that as a freaking badge of honor, okay? And learn how to use what you have more creatively. So I had a client once that came and he wanted to do chest workouts. He had a home gym. He had some dumbbells and benches and stuff. He was just kind of like hurting for ideas. So we did chest twice a week, and he ended up coming for an entire year. And we never did the same the same workout. So we did 104 workouts together. Never did the exact same exercise, like the exact same workout. So I actually wrote him a paper that was 52 ways to do dumbbell presses. So I actually gave him 52 ways to just use an adjustable bench and dumbbells to train his chest. So be creative. You do not need to spend a lot of money. You don't need a lot of equipment. You just need to hunker down, find some fun ideas on YouTube, experiment in your own training, and it'll make you by far a better trainer because you'll have to be aware of more positionings, more options, and you'll have to have a lot more awareness of what is around you and available within what you have. Okay? So do not ever, ever, ever feel that you are limited as a trainer by the equipment you have. You are only limited by your creativity. Okay?